And one of the reasons that forced Trump to change his rhetoric is our precise strikes on Russian oil refineries. There is currently a fuel shortage being recorded all across Russia. Many gas stations have closed, about 3,500 of them, and that's according to Russian media sources. So we can safely double that number. And as for the remaining gas stations, there are huge lines at them.
In fact, there are major fuel problems in the temporarily occupied territories as well. And in Crimea, people are willing to stand in line all day just to get at least 10 liters of fuel.
Explosions and bright flames, this has become a familiar sight for our neighbors. Almost every night, oil depots and refineries are burning both in the Russian border regions and deep in the rear. For example, here's Saratov. And this is faraway Bashkortostan. A drone hits a Gazprom facility directly. In the past 2 months, we have struck more than 50 enemy oil facilities. And this is a massive blow to the Russian economy. The gas station country has run out of gasoline. There are lines at gas stations all across the Federation. Here's a photo from Sakhalin. On the gas station window, there's a sign, no fuel. The situation is similar in Krasnoyarsk. There, too, instead of gasoline at the pumps, there are just pieces of paper.
Today I went to one gas station and there was nothing at all, no fuel whatsoever, so I came here hoping to fill up.
The spot shortages of gasoline have even reached the wealthy cities of St. Petersburg and Moscow.
There's no 100 octane, no 95, not even 92.
Although, of course, in the capital region, things aren't as dire as they are in the provinces. In the border city of Belgorod, it's already extremely difficult to get fuel.
I only have about 40 kilometers of remaining range left, and that's absolutely it. There's no available gasoline whatsoever in Belgorod.
According to Russian media, in 2 months, fuel has disappeared from more than 300 gas stations, although the real scale might be even greater.
The scale of the problem is, well, quite serious. And I think Russia hasn't seen anything like this in all its years of independence. Judging by what we currently see, with entire regions of the country left completely without essential fuel supplies, you could certainly say that the strike truly hit its intended mark.
There's also a major fuel shortage in the temporarily occupied territories. To get even 10 liters of gasoline, drivers in Mariupol, Luhansk, and Donetsk are standing in kilometer-long lines.
I don't understand why there's such a huge shortage. Do you know what this is related to? There's no 95 anywhere.
And this is a line of cars in Sevastopol. There is gasoline left at only a few gas stations there.
There's no gasoline at all in the city. Only diesel is available.
In the end, this is the situation across the entire annexed peninsula. The occupation authorities in Crimea are asking people not to worry, while speaking vaguely and strangely avoiding the word shortage.
I ask the residents of Crimea and guests of the peninsula to be patient. The situation is forced by objective reasons.
The objective reasons are not only our strikes on oil refineries, but also decisions from Moscow. The Kremlin is supplying fuel primarily to the central regions, and as for the periphery, citizens there can just walk on foot.
The farther from Moscow, the lower the priorities become. Even if this particular region is considered the absolute best, for example, in terms of valuable resource extraction, such as crude oil, it's still, well, it is indeed located quite far away from everything else.
And in the future, a gasoline drought could affect most gas stations in the Federation.
The next consequence is diesel, a shortage of it. And the third wave is jet fuel. I highly doubt that anyone in Russia would dare to restrict the military's access to diesel fuel right now. I think it will be the civilian population that suffers first and foremost.
The strategy of striking Russian oil refineries has proven to be very effective. It even forced Donald Trump to change his stance and realize that Ukrainian drones are indeed punching a hole in Russia's economy.
The biggest progress is that the Russian economy is in a terrible state right now. It is collapsing. Ukraine is currently doing a remarkably good job holding back this incredibly large and formidable army.
In response to both such statements from Trump and our strikes on oil refineries, the Kremlin has launched yet another information campaign. Now the propagandists are all repeating in unison that Russia is winning and their economy is getting stronger. But now the balance of power is changing. The war is coming ever closer to the Russians. And what will win? Loud propaganda slogans from TV or empty tanks and a silent sign at the gas station? No gasoline. Vladislav Palivoda, We Are Ukraine. Marathon, the only news.
And to continue the topic, Last night, the SBU's long-range drones halted the operation of an oil pumping station in Russia's Chuvashia, nearly 1,500 kilometers from Ukraine. According to its own sources, the SBU received confirmation. Its drones struck pumping station number 1, causing a fire and halting the oil transfer. The local governor reported that the station was damaged, traditionally adding that the damage supposedly was minor. But Russian provocateur drones feel free in European skies. They have already been spotted near the main Royal Danish Air Force base. They freely hover over Sweden and Germany. Meanwhile, the NATO Secretary General confirms the alliance's unpreparedness to counter the aggressor's cheap technologies, since shooting down dirt-cheap Russian drones with expensive missiles is neither cost-effective nor efficient.
Ukrainians, having gained unprecedented experience, are ready to share it, says Volodymyr Zelensky. He also reported that on the night of September 10th, 92 Russian drones were flying toward Poland. However, Ukraine shot down most of them in Ukrainian airspace. In fact, Mark Rutte emphasizes the need to counter Russia's aerial provocations. NATO is learning from the Ukrainians. So which Europeans are ready to stand up to the Kremlin? Anna Hrishina will tell us more.
Unknown drones and Russian fighter jets have been attacking EU countries every day this week. The day before, a Hungarian Gripen intercepted 5 Russian Sukhois and 3 MiGs over the Baltic Sea. They were flying near Latvia's air border. NATO countries are on alert.
We are not at war, but there is no lasting peace either. We are under attack, facing hybrid assaults in the form of disinformation campaigns and, of course, drone attacks. This is the reality.
And even in Germany itself, foreign drones have arrived. They were circling near the border with Denmark. German intelligence suspects that the purpose of these flights is espionage and sabotage. Drones were also observing something in Scandinavia. They circled over the civilian airports of Copenhagen and Aalborg, which paralyzed their operations for several hours, as well as over the bases of F-16 and F-35 military fighter jets. An investigation is underway in Denmark. Whose drones were these? They state that the owners of the drones are unidentified state actors and are urgently preparing a law that would allow such drones to be shot down.
This resembles the model of hybrid warfare that we have observed in other parts of Europe. We assess the risk of Russian espionage and sabotage in Denmark as high.
Unknown drones were also spotted over the Akershus military fortress in Oslo, Norway. And a few days later, they appeared over military facilities in eastern France. Last year, Ukrainian soldiers were training there. At the same time, Paris does not see any danger and insists on a policy of deterrence. Whereas both the US president and the head of the European Commission propose destroying drones and aircraft that violate airspace.
Do you believe that NATO should shoot down Russian aircraft if they intrude into NATO airspace?
Yes, they definitely should indeed.
Russian MiGs caused panic in Estonia when 3 fighter jets circled over the Gulf of Finland for a full 12 minutes. They did not respond to instructions from NATO pilots. And the most high-profile event of September was when 24 drones terrorized Poland. Because of this, they had to scramble fighter jets and, for the first time, shoot down UAVs. They managed to shoot down as many as 4. But now they're threatening to shoot down even foreign aircraft.
If another missile or aircraft enters our airspace without permission and is shot down and the debris falls on NATO territory, don't come complaining. You've been warned.
Additionally, the Polish government is urging its citizens to leave Belarus as soon as possible, the country from which the drones entered. The announcement mentions possible unforeseen circumstances and a worsening situation in the region.
All neighboring border states, including Lithuania, the Baltic countries, Poland and Finland, may very soon face much larger scale and significant provocations from Russia, potentially involving drones and other advanced military technologies. And what concerns us most is that right now we must urgently begin building a drone wall.
But it's too early to talk about when this wall will appear. The project is only at its initial stage, and NATO countries are already experiencing brazen intrusions by Russia. For example, in July, a Gerbera drone not only crossed Lithuania's border, but calmly flew across the entire city of Vilnius loaded with explosives. And despite this, there is still no unity within the EU on what to do about hostile drones and aircraft that violate the airspace of bloc countries. In mid-October, NATO defense ministers from member states will gather, and perhaps there they will reach an agreement. For now, countries are acting at their own discretion. Lithuania and Romania have decided to shoot down aerial targets that illegally cross their borders. Reporting from Brussels, Anna Hrishina, Ukraine, Marathon, United News.